Hi, I'm Charles Clark. Let me ask you if this scenario sounds familiar. It's a Tuesday morning, you're sitting at your desk, you're having your cup of tea, and suddenly an alert comes in from your virtualization environment. It tells you that on host X, the CPU utilization has tripped a threshold. So what do? Well, you leap to your feet and rush off to save host X. But wouldn't it be awesome if you could figure out, before you rushed off and started digging at it, if you could figure out exactly which virtual machine or which resource had been the cause of that threshold being tripped? Wouldn't it be great if the alert itself gave you the all-important context to do effective troubleshooting? The answer is yes. It would be awesome, right? And that's exactly what the Veeam VMware Management Pack sets out to do. Allow me to demonstrate. So here you can see the System Center Operations Manager console. You can see that I've already imported the Veeam Management Pack for VMware, and I have a whole bunch of nodes underneath that. All of these are available out of the box, of course. I just want to drill in and take a look at my clusters and see what alerts relate to my cluster. So I've got a couple of clusters here. Now if I click the alert that I've received for vSphere cluster memory usage analysis and drill into the alert description, you can see that what we've been able to do is actually something that really helps when it comes to troubleshooting. We're not only telling you that the cluster has tripped the threshold for high memory utilization, but we're also telling you the memory usage for the hosts that are inside that cluster. So at a glance, I can see the top hosts that are using memory, and I quickly identify the specific area of remediation that I then need to drill into. Now we can see the similar information for hosts, but I just want to use a different example here. I want to use resource pools. So I'll take a look at my resource pool alerts. You can see that I have resource pool memory usage analysis alerts appearing inside my console here. And if I click one of these, you can see that this particular resource pool has tripped the threshold for memory utilization. And I can actually drill in and see the VMs that are inside that resource pool and see the memory utilization for those VMs. Now, I can actually take that a step further because I can drill in and use a really neat feature that Veeam have included, which are called analysis dashboards. And what this does is it sort of takes me the step further. So the analysis dashboard, I can see a historical graph of what the memory utilization has been for that resource pool. I can see historical graphs for all the virtual machines that are inside that resource pool, so I can identify, if something has suddenly started to chew resource. And my personal favorite is I can now see the alerts that relate to the resource pool, but also to all the virtual machines that are resident within that resource pool. So I can see here that we've triggered the memory usage analysis that sparked this conversation, but we can also see that a couple of the virtual machines inside there seem to be having an issue with memory ballooning, and I can drill in and analyze that. In fact, I can even do that from the task pane here. So I may, for example, open up the ballooning analysis, the VM ballooning analysis dashboard. I can see the alert that triggered this, and I can drill in and see the appropriate metrics with trends over time. So it's really about putting that information at my fingertips to help me do troubleshooting within that resource pool. Of course, hosts, clusters, resource pools aren't the only things that we can do this that we can have these analysis monitors for. We also provide them for storage, but I want to do a slightly different example here for storage. If we take a look at my storage alerts, you can see I have an alert here for a particular data store. This data store has unknown files on that data store. It could be any other data store that's in the list here. And it's telling me basically that we've tripped a threshold for files that are on that data store that don't relate to a virtual machine. So it could be orphan VM files, or could be copied ISO files, could be the administrator's MP3 collection maybe. And we tripped that threshold, which is neat in itself, but wouldn't it be great if we could actually figure out what those files were so I can go in and clean them up? Well, it would be great. And we can do exactly that. So we've included a context-sensitive task to scan the data store for unknown files, and I can just kick off that task, and scan the data store and pull up the list of unknown files. Okay, and there's the list of unknown files for this particular data store. I can see the list of files, and I now know what I need to go in and have a look at and clean up out of that data store. As we get to the lower tiers inside the virtualization environment, as we dig a little bit deeper, of course, virtual machines become something that we really want to be able to get a handle on. So we can do that using the analysis monitors for virtual machines. So again, just a very simple example, you can see that this virtual machine here up at the top, AU-SQL01, has triggered the CPU usage analysis monitor. And if I look inside the description, you can see that we're pulling together the CPU percentage and also the megahertz or gigahertz usage for that virtual machine. And I can then take that a stage further by having a look at the CPU usage analysis dashboard. And what this is going to do is actually something that I love. It's going to show me the VM CPU utilization over the last 24 hours, so I can see trends and spikes, that sort of thing. But it's also going to show me the in-guest CPU and memory if the native Ops Manager agent and the relevant Windows Management Pack have been imported and applied to the OS inside that virtual machine. So I can see the variance between what the VM thinks it's using and what VMware thinks the VM is using from a resource perspective for CPU and memory. But my all-time favorite feature has to be encapsulated in this dialog here. I can see at a glance all the alerts for both the virtual machine, so the CPU usage analysis alert that we've been just looking at, but also for any alerts that relate to that in-guest Ops Manager agent, including alerts for all management packs that apply to that agent. So you can see here that I have an alert relating to the Windows Server Management Pack. It's a memory utilization alert by the looks of things, and I've got a couple of alerts that relate to the SQL Management Pack. So at a glance, I'm getting all that information put at my fingertips so that I can drill in and see, is it a VM issue? Is it an application issue? Was it an operating system issue? In one place, I get all the activity that relates to that virtual machine to use as the basis for my troubleshooting. And of course, as we go up the virtualization stack, we look at data stores, resource pools, hosts, and clusters. We get all of that contextual information to help us make the right decisions about troubleshooting our VMware environment. Thank you.